Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the NLC. Thank you for sticking with us, but we are now ready. I've been told, and if we've not been told, I'm going to be coming for you, as we're going to be getting ready to go into our champ select for our third game. We did have one ban. I can't remember what that ban was.
It was Lulu.
There you go.
There you go. It's on the screen. All right. So, what?
We all just forgot how to do our jobs in like the 3-minute break.
Am I the only one that remembered it was Lulu, I guess?
I said it too.
Oh, okay. So it's just Jake, then. Like normal then. Yeah.
Okay.
Curious about whether or not Galaxy Racer are going to remove away the Jinx, or whether they don't care, whether they feel like they can punish it in the early game, because honestly, Galaxy Racer, in particular Monk, would be the kind of player to let the enemy AD carry get their comfort just to crush it in lane. So
or take it himself.
Or take it himself even, maybe. I would definitely lean more into the crush it though, because that just seems like Monk in a nutshell.
Monk, yes.
So let's see what this final ban is for Granit. With Karma gone, there's a lot of potency now for the Rumble first pick, so will Granit ban that away? You've still got all of the, the Gwens, the Viegos, which Gwen slipped through all games today, curiously enough. So I think finally teams starting to sort of recognize how to play around her here in the NLC. She's like the craziest strong champion, but she is pretty damn powerful when she can be. And let's see, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, set is up and available. If you want to pick it into the Akali, it's pretty strong. You also have the Thresh. Honestly, if I'm not playing with Baber, I would possibly put the Thresh really up on my list when it comes to pick rotation, but Wixo didn't have the most impressive Thresh performances yesterday, but definitely I think Set is an absolute go here, because you can put him anywhere you want. He can even end up down in the bot lane in Wixo's hands. And Xin Zhao, we completely forgot that this beast went through. That is a very, very strong rotation from Granit.
It's been banned all day, so sometimes you just forget champs exist.
You just forget when they're banned, yeah.
Yeah, but there it is. It probably will just be the pick up there for Indecision. It's a very strong jungler at the moment, a lot of impact, and can really do a lot. And, it doesn't really play into one kind of team comp in particular as well, so it's fairly flexible in that sense. Obviously, it will stay in the jungle, but, they can still build what they like, and the Xin Zhao will be able to slot in fairly nicely. Over to Galaxy Racer now, looking for an answer. Remember, the Akali can kind of move around a little bit between top and mid, realistically. Probably just going to go see it in the mid lane. We'll see what Galaxy Racer looks to try and put up in the top lane, because they don't know whether or not this is going to be the set in the mid, the jungle, the support, the top, the support. So Lee Sin going to get picked up here for Galaxy Racer, and I'm curious to see whether or not they look to take the Thresh or something and just kind of get himself a nice support and then build around that from there.
Yeah, they're in a bit of a precarious position, because if they go down the support route, then, they're losing out on the jungle pick potentially, unless Jackie wants to play it, which we know Jackie can play it.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see, because obviously we sort of more associate Lee Sin with the top lane pick. Do they want to pick up the AD carry or not have it pinched? Which is obviously something that Granit could easily do on this red side R3. And honestly, with Kai'Sa being locked in, Baber could just look at Jinx if he wants to. There's no real, like, in terms of the AD matchup, he's pretty 3-2 now. The only issue is for for Granit is they're gonna then suffer 2 support bans. So, what safety nets are Galaxy Racer actually gonna be allowed to remove if this is gonna be a Jinx on the R3? It's going to be Tristana though, so actually trying to match that 1v1 in the bottom lane, and it also still keeps it flexible towards the mid lane for Cannon too. The only issue, obviously, if that Tristana ends up in the mid lane, there's a bit of a lack of magic damage, but right now there's no front line on Galaxy Race, so the ionization wouldn't even be too scary to deal with at the moment.
I actually really like this. I like the Tristana because of the fact, like you said, it is flexible. Sure, damage profile could get a little messed up from this, but at the end of the day, if AD carries get heavily banned out and you just go, there's nothing else we want, we'll just keep the Tristana. Instead, Galaxy Racer recognizing that, so they take away safety net into denying the Thresh. And I'd like to see from Granit maybe a Leona ban here, just to kind of, put something else that can kind of handle up really well with the Kai'Sa.
To be fair, I don't necessarily mind if Granit go for a full AD composition if they want to have a Jinx in the bot lane, due to the fact that the Akali is extremely squished, same as the Kai'Sa, and also you have a lot of Drew damage coming in from your set who's going to be extremely tanky, and the Xin Zhao who sticks on a target. I don't necessarily mind it too much, but I definitely think that Baber has been more proactive in general on the map, and he's playing more aggressive. He's allowed to play more aggressive when he doesn't necessarily depend on his support and someone else making the plays. plays. And I think that Tristana does give him that agency of creating the plays for himself. And we've said how much he's been trying to carry. And I feel like the Tristana would potentially be the pick for him. Also, it's really good into the Kai'Sa. It works like sort of like a mini jinx. The second Kai'Sa walks into the wave, then the bomb sort of like pushes the Kai'Sa away from the AoE. Ooh, and the Rakan coming in.
Yeah, I think it's the best engage option now available. When you've got all of the other engage supports down, nothing can really lock the that Rakan down in lanes like super easily anymore. And it's also a great takeaway from Galaxy Racer. I think you give Rakan over to Wendell and this Galaxy Racer composition, all of a sudden they've got dive and they've got an additional go button. So great pick all in all for me. A little bit surprised in the sense of Wixo typically leans on the Alistar, which is now what Wendell's going to be playing himself. So I'm happy to see that he's sort of lent away from what seems to be a comfort pick in the Alistar, and he's taken something that fits the composition, I feel like, for Granit a little more. And now to Galaxy Racer, it's looking like I'm thinking this is going to be at least on Jackie. I think they're actually going to take a Khan's pick here. Could be entirely wrong, but I feel like you want to look for a counter matchup into the set, and it looks like the pick will be the Wukong, which we've seen today already, and it's looked really damn strong with that Divine Sunder, man.
Now, something that I wouldn't mind seeing here to kind of handle this Akali in lane is the LeBlanc. We could see Rogue Cannon pull that out.
But does Cannon play it?
Yeah, he does play it as well. I feel like this is a really nice rotation here if they go for it. They could also go for something like maybe like an Orianna that can just kind of do wave clear duty and kind of play into the team fighting. Ooh. But actually something else that is picked up regularly into the Akali is this Sylas being able to steal her own ultimate away from her, kind of keep pace, and the sustain just on the Kingslayer. It's a nice little pickup here. Trouble, I'm going to throw this to you. What are you making of these team comps? What do you like about them? What do you think their strengths are here?
Honestly, the very scary thing here is that Granit will have to figure out a way to get the 3 melees in, but it's going to be much easier because Galaxy Racer want to dive into them, right? So the set has a very easy way in. The Sylas can steal a bunch of ultimates to make his engagement as well. And I just really, in general, like how Granit have formed the top side of the map, because I'm not very worried about the bot side of the map. Sylas has so much potential to steal in every single ultimate. Alistar is going to make him undying in this game. And I feel like for Galaxy Racer, it's a lot harder to execute than it is for Granit. Like, the Monkey's going to have to find the flanks, Akali's going to have to find the right targets, and honestly, everyone is pretty beefy except the Tristana on the side of Granit.
Jamada, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, totally agree with Trouble. I think Galaxy Racer have a lot more work to do in the sense of setting up fights. Again, it's all about the flank angles, whereas Granit, they're very much reactive. They've got very versatile tools. If they want to go in, they can find angles. They don't necessarily even have to find flanks, and they've got plenty of re-engage options if Galaxy Racers are the one that play first.
Well, as we take to the rift for our third game of the day, it's time to pass it over to our casters, Beardy and Weirdy.
That's coming from a man who's decided to call himself Hip Rain. What is a Hip Rain, by the way, mate? I'm not taking that.
Who knows? Yeah. Who honestly knows?
Yeah, well, maybe instead we should talk about what we do know, which are the compositions for these two teams. Our analyst desk, kind of favouring by the sounds of it, Granit, at least in terms of ease of execution there.
Yeah, I think they got some great tools on their side. I really think Sylas is amazing in this situation. A lot of valuable ultimates you can pick up. And I mean, the Alistar ultimate is so good. So definitely a game that Roll Canadian could potentially look to carry. Okay. And I feel like, Galaxy Racer have this dive composition, but who are you really diving? There's only really this Tristana. And typically Tristana is someone who has a decent amount of safety with the Rakan peeling as well. But it's not like last game when we had this Aphelios who was like, okay, the main focus is diving. It's like, you're still going to have the Sylas, the Xin Zhao, the Set who are just going to be causing so much damage. So I feel like Granit have that massive edge. But even so, things like T-Bot and the Akali, Rakan and the Wukong, these champions have so much carry potential.
More than one carry to work the rift this time. Poor old Deadly did try real hard last game, wasn't quite enough. But, both these AD carries as well this game round could definitely do their own form of carrying. But it sounds like, at least from what we're hearing, we should have a few more members who can do just the same. I suppose at this point as well, I do want to talk about those AD carries, because by all accounts, and from what I've been hearing from you guys, these pair of AD carries are some of the better ones in the league.
I think, honestly, AD carries stack roll. I think in Europe in general, but in the NLC, really there's a lot of good AD carries, and I think both of these are talented. Monk is definitely the more aggressive. Babro tends to play more of that backline role. I feel like in terms of the picks that have been given, this is favoring Monk. I feel like the Kai'Sa is exactly what he wants to be playing, but I don't think Babro's a slouch when we're not seeing him in things like the Jinx, as Trouble has highlighted quite a bit. He is comfortable in these other champions, And Tristana into the Kai'Sa is a good matchup, you know?
Okay.
Often a lot of AD carries struggle when Kai'Sa dives onto them, but Tristana can take that duel, can obviously knock her away. And also in the laning phase, you're going to have priority, so has that advantage as well. And looking across the map, one concern for Galaxy Racer is I'd expect Granit to have priority mid, priority bot lane, and that really allows Indecision to basically do what Marcoon did in the XL game and just apply that pressure.
Absolutely needs to be not indecisive. He needs to be very decisive if he's got all those options. Always a slightly ironic name for a jungler to have, Indecision, especially when you're playing at this level of competition. Interesting little MasterCard insight there as well. Lowest average game time is certainly something at 26:18. That is rapid.
Yeah, and I think it kind of comes from the way Galaxy Racer play. Their bot lane will always, and I mean always, look to fight you. And, you know, that doesn't say lowest average win time. That's the lowest average game time. Because I feel like, you know, Galaxy Racer's bot lane can be a little bit coin flip. And, you know, they are able to find massive advantages, but they have also had scenarios where they've kind of thrown the game away. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. I think their jungle mid is a lot more consistent. Jake in particular, able to play through his lanes quite well, and T-Ball's had, for the most part, pretty good games, but the bot lane is volatile, and that can obviously be to Galaxy Racer's favor or to their deficit. So I guess we're going to see what we get this time around.
Both AD carries running exhaust here, and, you know, with the Kai'Sa and the Tristana, there's a lot of room to go diving in and trying to play super aggressive, and you called out how likely that could be already at level 1, both these guys firing out the skills. And interestingly to note, though, that Indecision is starting on this bot side and pathing towards the top. Feels like that's the better option for himself. Curious to see where that actually works out, of course, because Tristana, with just by virtue of having AoE auto attacks, will be shoving in probably a little earlier on.
Yeah, especially with the Alistar as well, who's essentially almost useless at level 1. It's kind of expected they'll have that priority. It's interesting that he's opting to path towards top. But to be honest, from the looks of it so far, he's got prio in both his side lanes, and mid lane's pretty even. So I don't think there's a bad spot for him to be on the map. Is the fortunate thing. I think Jakey obviously has to be a little bit more intelligent with where he wants to be and where he's looking to contest things like that skull crab.
Okay, so maybe just wanting to get through as quick as they can. There's a ward on the Raptors, which will spot out Indecision as he actually doesn't pass through the bush there, I think. So I don't think he's been spotted out. Instead, we'll go over the wall, so they won't necessarily know where the Xin Zhao is, at least for sure.
Yeah, and I think we might have seen Jakey loop around similarly to dodge out those wards.
I think he did.
So I think there's not, I mean, you kind of have an understanding.
Yeah.
Just from the fact that, you know, they're not clearing the Raptors. I think you kind of have a pretty good understanding of where they are. But it's not been 100% confirmed right now, though. Jakey is taking a window to go for the Scuttle Crab. And again, doesn't have priority bot, doesn't have priority mid, but there isn't really too much that's been done to shut him down. So we will just be able to grab that one and potentially look for something in the bot lane, because Wendell now at level 2 actually is a champion, can do that combo. But looks like he doesn't see a window bot, and he is moving towards the mid lane.
I'm just going to see whether maybe there's an easier angle onto roll cannon here. On the Silas, just shoved up. That's in a pretty good position for T-Board and maybe cause some chaos. But look, who else is here? It's Indecision on the top of the screen. But with Lee Sin, Jakey just deciding, well, probably not the best of angles here either. We'll retreat over to those Raptor pits they skirted earlier.
Yeah, and be able to clear that one up, and now has a window to move forwards. Only really the Rogues left available.
The moment I start talking about a gank, the gank stops happening. The moment I stop talking about the gank, attempt comes through. But Jakey won't land the Sonic Wave, and so it'll just be a bit of a look in and a back away.
All in all, you know, Granit had the priority advantage. Nothing's really come from it. So we saw Marcoon obviously do a lot to capitalize on the back of that. Indecision, not so much. So overall, Galaxy Racer kind of feeling okay in this situation.
Yeah, and of course, this is a bit of a pressure game, as we were kind of hearing about a bit earlier, with Riddle beating BTXL of all people. There's a lot of people suddenly contesting for that second and third place spot. Like, I believe if Galaxy Racer don't win this, they're no longer in that third place spot, if I recall correctly.
Off the top of my head, maybe.
I think it'll move to 7 and 4, so it'll be tied with them at the very least, I believe, if they lose this one. No, actually, no, they'll be moving down to 6 and 5 if Galaxy Racer lose this one. So it's all become a little bit messy. Apologies there for doing math on stream was never a good idea, and instead we see ourselves a bit of trading in the bot side, both supports taking hefty chunks, but the Ignite was burned by Wendell there, so some at a disadvantage now.
Yeah, and I mean, Galaxy Racer haven't been too aggressive so far in the bot lane, but they haven't been given windows. It's kind of hard to engage on either of these champions with the mobility, and it's just really been Granit's bot lane finding the advantage, finding those windows. And they're pretty comfortable with this. It gives them this opportunity to take this dragon. None of the lanes in Galaxy Racer are in a position to contest. You got Prior across the board. It's comfortable. It's not doing as much as potentially you could do, but you'll take this advantage when, again, you're pretty comfortable leading into the late stages with this Tristana, with the Stylist, and even with the Xin Zhao.
Absolutely, and the dragon goes straight over, and that's going to be secured nice and early. Shy 6 minutes into the game, so that's dragon stacking to start nice and early. Infernal Drake will be the second Drake of the game, and that leaves us with either the Mountain Rift or the Cloud Rift to play with. There's a fair few ultimates, in fairness, that wouldn't mind a Cloud Rift, as T-Bot maybe got a little bit baited there, took the Shuriken under tower, and it takes a lot of that HP bar, and now in the bot side, Monk being left in a 2v1. Takes a hefty trade, but survives the engage.
Yeah, and you can see Granit backing off there, not really pushing the advantage. Potentially could have got a plate quite easily with Tristana, but not wanting to overstep. And actually, potentially could be resetting to move towards the top side. But it might be a little bit early for Herald, so I think just going back bot.
Yeah, just a minute or so before that becomes a really good option, but now instead in comes Jakey, but that's going to be a turnaround with the Showstopper. Big Haymaker does his work, flash away from Hessero. And Indecision being around makes this a bit difficult. Wind becomes lightning, does hit. That means the Audacious Charge will be flash in there. It was a bit of an interesting one, forced to flash from Jakey as well. And both top jungle duos lose their flashes.
A lot of aggression, but no kill actually coming out between these two. A lot of skirmishing power, but yeah, no one able really to find the connection, really to find that impact now. We do see Wixo moving up towards the top side. Granite able to get that reset, able to get back onto the bot lane sooner, and now is where Herald really becomes, you know, on a prospect that they can lean towards, and you can see this force already up there, but we'll get that replay in this situation, and both of these champions in the top lane, pretty hard to take down, pretty slippery, and ultimately just not everything connects in this scenario. Critically, Hessero nearly killing Kakam, but a nice W to buy him some time. And then Indecision, this was a little bit messy. Doesn't manage to finish off the Wukong, but they do end up trading flashes off the back end, so not too bad overall.
All right, so no one dies, but summoners were burnt. Feels like it's happened a few times today already. Gonna be looking at a Herald that has spawned, but neither team has yet to move towards it entirely. You can see Indecision, as I speak about it, starts pathing over alongside Hesser, who does likely have lane priority, alongside, of course, this Silas, who's been doing a pretty good job of shoving in, and that gives Indecision this opportunity to start up this Herald solo.
Yeah, this is the Herald window. Again, the priority really leaning into Granite's advantages, so they can just start chaining together these neutrals, and they're fine with this game going later. So if they keep continuing this pace, eventually Galaxy Racer will have to fight them, will have to contest. For now, though, Monk looking pretty chunked out once again. It's kind of a consistent theme we've seen for the bot lane so far this game.
Definitely been options, a bit more scuffling going on in the mid lane. Leads to both mid lanes being about half HP, but little more to be found. And Herald goes over to Indecision. No one can contest. Jakey just 15 seconds or so too late to go for that one. Might consider invading here. There's a ward to hop to. Does land the Sonic Wave and won't be able to dodge it away. Now Indecision takes a fair trade back, and the Raptors start trading around. Over comes T-Ball. Could potentially use the perfect execution, and it'll be Herald and trade for Raptors, I suppose, in the grand scheme of things there.
Yeah, I think Indecision make the right call to back away. This is a window where you don't have the mid priority. T-Ball actually starting to find a bit of an advantage in the matchup. Your Q is costing a lot less energy. You're able to throw it down more cleanly, and on top of that, we saw the Roma from Wendell, but now Wendell has to go back bot, and this is given a window for Wixo to move up. So accordingly, Galaxy Racer back away, and Wendell actually tries to find a play onto Babe Roll, but is not successful. For now, though, again, we see these setups, we see these teams trying to find these windows for aggression, but they just end up backing off again. Pressure kind of fades out, and still 0 for 0 overall.
Yeah, it's been one of the quieter games you've had today thus far in the early game, but it feels like Granit are the ones that have come out on top in terms of neutral objectives at the very least. First Drake, first Herald has gone their way. We've got about 45 seconds until the second Dragon, and with the Herald in inventory, you can guess that's what they'll be using that Herald to buy pressure for. And both these top laners starting to trade pretty aggressively here. Actually, that's a big showstopper, but actually, he just went in and died. That was a little bit suspect, all things said and done.
Yeah, and I think you have to respect the Wukong in this situation with that Sheen, with the ability to proc that extra damage consistently, and the fact that you're ulting twice. A lot of champions can't really withstand that 1v1. We've seen quite a few Wukong solo kills so far in this tournament, and has zero victim to that.
And that's going to be a bit frustrating one for Granit, of course, because they were hoping to set up nice and aggressively for this Dragon. Now with their top laner dead, that makes things a bit more difficult. Neither top laner has teleport, but the bot sides are going to start fighting anyway. Quickness is popped. Indecision finds Tibble to stop the teleport. Actually, that wasn't a teleport. I apologize. They're down the bot side, because guess who else is here? It's Royal Cannon who gets a kill, so mid laner gets 1 kill apiece. Wendell finds a 3-mine pulverize though, and now Royal Cannon can still think about going in, gets stunned in place though by Trample. Sonic Wave lands over the wall, nice goes to Carly, but great knockup makes that one a bad choice. That one is what you call Lee Syndrome a little bit with the red buff in, but we've got ourselves game pause. We can take a Kit Kat for the third time today.
Yeah, really nice play from Wixo there. I think the critical thing was that knock-up from the Rakan, able to catch the engaging Lee Sin, able to catch the Akali, and the turnaround comes in. Really solid play. And Babro, you know, we said he's this really strong backline AD carry. Even in a team fight like this early in the game, able to find those windows and those resets. With Wendell still alive, as the state is in the pause, this is Babro 3 for 0. You know, 3 kills in pocket for this Tristana is a massive advantage already.
Yeah, and like my dumb play-by-play brain went, ooh, Wendell finds 3-man pulverize. That looks great. And then, you know, the fact you've got this, or, you know, the Rakan turning it around, gets Babro a couple kills. That's pretty bad news. And we said this bot lane could end up snowballing one way or another. There was a bit of a coin flip available, particularly for the side of Monk. And right now, it's another bit of a win here for Granit by the looks of it.
And I mean, you get this Tristana fed, and as long as you can stay safe, and honestly, with this team composition, you have a fair amount of disruption, a fair amount of peel, Babro will be able to carry. And it really comes down to Galaxy Race to find that agency to deal with him. But for now, getting those 3 kills, absolutely massive. They won't chase down Wendell for the 4th. He's a little bit too healthy and has that flash. But overall, just Galaxy Race a little bit too over-committal there, and they end up getting punished. We'll get into the replay. So realistically, how is Babro dying here? He still has flash and rocket jump. He's not going to go down. Tibo does find Indecision, and obviously the Akali can easily win that 1v1, but they're using a lot of tools here. The Akali ultimate down a lot of HP, and they still haven't dealt with the Sylas, with this Tristana, and they get so much value in these longer fights. You can see the dive comes in, the interrupt actually stops the Sonic Wave damage from coming out, and they're able to get that extra damage through the sustained extended fights favoring them there.
And that now means that Tristana goes back and picks up a Kraken Slayer, which is exactly what Galaxy Racer did really not want to see at this point in the game. We already said this is a very important game for them to continue contesting for those playoff spots. Granit, right now, the gold is even, but where is the gold, you have to ask? It's all on Tristana, and that's pretty scary to think about.
Yeah, and I mean, there aren't any Krakens on the other team, but I think it's going to do enough. It's going to do a good enough job dealing with...
Can we get it? I mean, I suppose Lowy kind of counts. Is that the only time you can buy the item thematically appropriately?
Yeah, I'd say that fits. But I think Krakens, you know, if it's killing a Kraken, it'll probably do pretty good against like a cow and a monkey. But do you see Granit setting up for a dive here? But I think they'll just back off with the TP coming in.
Oh, maybe Krakens will do pretty well versus Herald as well. Of course, on their team though, so no need to slay it. They'll get a couple plates and back away. Did get the teleport out of T-Ball there as Jakey does try and get something topside. It'll be a little bit of dirty farming, some proxy farming here for Kakan, but that's about it.
You know, it's honestly not a great Herald. In the top lane, you can see Kakan able to get 3 plates with no Herald. You're trading it in essentially evenly there with a Herald, and you weren't even able to put the gold on someone valuable. It all went to Indecision because Galaxy Racer responded. So Babro, the person who you'd love to get that plate gold, didn't get any, but We see Granit going for the redive.
Wind becomes lightning, but this time lightning doesn't strike twice or even once, frankly, because that one just missed. And now the turnaround begins. Big engage, but Wendell's taken very low. The Crescent Guard is out as well. T-Ball into the shroud, trying to do their best. He's going to get knocked up. He does at least get indecision, and now the turnaround starting to come through in full. Jakey is here, gets the kick, and it's a shutdown going the way of that Lee Sin. Royal Cannon goes down as well, and Granit crumble and erode away under the pressure.
Granit just so greedy there. They go for the dive setup, they get responded to with the TP, they back off, and then they're so slow to set up the second time. And obviously, Galaxy Racer are very aware of what's going on. They're able to bring T-Ball down, bring the Wukong in, and again, this Wukong doing so much work here. So we see this initial engage. You see Baybro jump in and try to get the reset of Wendell, but thanks to the ult isn't able to. But look at the value this Akali Wukong get in this close range fight. Monk is untouched. Jakey's able to join, and as much as Royal Cannon with the Alistar ult is a hard target to kill, doesn't matter if his whole team dies.
Only bought time, didn't buy enough damage, and how is it we've seen 2 games now where Wukongs find massive turnaround plays despite early games looking a little bit rough in some ways?
I think
3-0-2 to Khan.
I think the champion is just a little bit bonkers at the moment.
Possibly.
And especially that
touch.
Divine Sundra spike.
I've been hearing things about that, Orcs. What with this Divine Thunder thing? Apparently quite good in the game right now, at least on this pack.
Yeah, similarly to the Kraken Slayer, you know, there aren't any Divines on the side of Granite, but it's doing a lot of Sundering regardless. And it's just like, when you think about the item, gives you extra damage, gives you ability haste, and just gives you so much HP. It's such a good one-item spike. Like, even if you compare it to, like, you know, the old Triforce didn't give as much HP as this. And it's the fact that that one item just has so much value. The healing as well, the sustain. It's just really very front-loaded, very overloaded. It's not like the build gets worse from there because you're able to build more items. The damage scales because it's max HP. It's just pretty strong overall.
Yeah.
And Wukong's great at abusing it.
Yeah, he really is, and Galaxy Racer are going to use that option with the Power Spike hit to start up this Herald, and considering, you know, it's only the Kraken Slayer complete over for Granite Gaming versus Mythics completed for the whole top side of the map for Galaxy Racer, I really don't blame them for not fighting that one. It would be a mistake, all things said and done. Instead, they'll just rotate the bot lane towards mid and use them to hold on to this mid lane out of the tower.
Yeah, we see a bit of a tower trade here, but Dragon up in a minute 15. Granite have got control of the bot side of the map. You know, you see all the vision on the mini-map for the blue side is on that top side. There isn't too much vision from Granite here, but the area was in their favor. And with a minute on Dragon, that is something they'd love to secure. Getting that third one, obviously, to Mountain Soul, giving that extra shield to Baybro could be vital in keeping him alive. But we see Granite reset on the map. Wards picked up for Wixo. But Herald comes down from Galaxy Racer, and that should be able to establish some control, although I'm not sure about Jakey going for the Raptors here. I think I'd like to see them prioritize this bot side vision more, but, you know, I guess maybe valuing that little bit of gold over vision control.
Not sure you agree there, Ox, and I'm probably there with you, all things said and done. Mythics now complete for 3 members of Granite as well, which is good news considering they will be at Mountain Soul Point if they can secure this dragon. It is a Divine Thunder choice from Indecision, not the Gore Drinker worth pointing out. I think we're set up for a fight. Who am I keeping my eyes on?
I honestly think it's the flanks. You look at who on Galaxy Race is able to find that flank angle, and particularly the solo laners. T-Bot and Kakan are massive right now. For Granite, it's got to be Brave Roar and maybe Royal Cannon if you can find the windows, particularly that Tristana. If it can stay alive on an item and a half, can do a fair amount of damage, but it looks like Granite aren't even really able to contest this one.
I was expecting a fight. I was setting us up for it, and instead it just looks like Granite are going to have to give it up. Roll Cannon comes in, but it's just too late. They don't make it to the river quick enough, and Akakan is actually on a pretty good flank. The Everfrost misses there. Instead, Wendell's going to take a bit of a chunk. In goes the Grand Entrance, alongside Indecision with the Crescent Guard, but a massive knock-up. Kakan with the Cyclone to follow. He's on a rampage, and Jin Zhao falls. You're set to keep an eye on the solo laners, and they do their damn job. That will be a pretty good work there for the side of Granite, actually, after all those people go in.
Yeah, and honestly, that looked like it could have been a good one for Galaxy Racer, but Monk chunked out at the start of the fight, unable to really do anything. And then we see Hesero, this big CC combo. We see him with the true damage from the Haymaker, just hitting everyone. So you can see this replay, and Monk critically is the one that gets caught out here by the quickness and gets completely chunked through. Both of the bot laners do. And then we end up with this big mix, the ton of damage. But watch this true damage coming out. Ooh. Shreds through Galaxy Racer. And really that one just burst of damage was enough to solidify things in Granit's favor. Didn't get the dragon, obviously a little bit late to get onto the play, but Granit do show that they can win out these team fights.
Leaves us with a pretty even gold game. It's about 1,000 or so, well, 1,000 or so in the favor of Galaxy Racer. Of course, they did secure that dragon, but it's not like these team fights are a done deal right now, especially if Set can land more haymakers like that. That true damage really stinks.
Yeah, I mean, that was... It's pretty crazy how much damage he now does with the full AD build. Yeah. Kind of makes you miss the tank set, where it's like, okay, well, you know, he's annoying, he's disruptive. Yeah. He does a decent amount of damage, but that's about it. But now it's just like, when he's using his W and hitting like 1,000 damage later in the game, it's pretty nuts. But I think Galaxy Racer want to stop him from doing that, so they're going for a play.
Boy, that is a nice use of the showstopper, though, to buffer out of the danger. The teleport now coming back in. And Hess Zero is starting to charge up that Spirit Bomb. You can see the hair flying. Roll Cannon, though, does get taken pretty low there, and so no use of the Haymaker. And all the while, Granit shoved through mid lane because no one was really there to defend, and Monk, left alone, can't walk up.
Yeah, and I don't think Set with Gordon here is a great target to dive with 3 melee champions. I just don't really see it happening. And you can see Wendell try to go for the knockback, but good moves from Hestero to avoid that one. And it means, I mean, look, mid lane, we're still getting more pressure coming out.
They're still here. They're just buying space. They're like, I'm not sure about this one at all. There's a Haymaker. Does a fair amount of damage in turn. Wendell now trying to get out so low. Flash from Silas secures it into the Everfrost. Rooting people in place, gets the kick. But now Ronin Cannon is in a 1v2. The Sonic Wave lands and Jakey gets that one. So at least there's some trade. But all the while, they lost their mid lane tier 2. And now the rotation's coming through. Indecision wants to hunt in. There's a teleport coming out. And now I think it's another fight. The Grand Entrance does time that well, but it's going to be the double cyclone. No Indecision getting knocked up. The wind becomes lightning. But what is that kind of inclement weather versus a whole damn hurricane? Kakan gets that one at the back. Witcho gets his way away. Babe Roar survives as well. And Galaxy Racer get, I think, the edge in that fight, and do so. You can see the death timers right now.
Yeah, I mean, Indecision going down critically. The strength of the solo lane is not available to this side of Granit, and they still opt in for the fight and end up getting punished massively. Now Galaxy Racer, no real contest for them just to take this Baron.
Oh, they play their games fast. They play their games loose in some ways. We saw how quick the games end one way or another. It's a few interesting plays back and forth, but they do come out with the Baron after we'll see from this replay.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for Granit to be fighting here and stepping up. You're getting towers mid for free, so really, you've already won in this exchange. But instead, they go for these plays. Rolkanen, you know, flashes in to kill the Alistar, only to die. It's not really a good trade. And then instead of Granit going, okay, we traded 2 for 1 in kills, we got 2 towers mid, I will take that. They opt into this fight on the top side, but realistically, you're just not strong enough. Kakan is so powerful right now on the Wukong, and Galaxy Racer are able to clash them now, have that Baron advantage, have that 3k gold lead.
I think I saw a grand total of about 4 autos from Babe Roar in that fight as well. Your 4-1 on 3 Tristana really didn't get much done in that, and that's where a lot of your power is if you're a Granit Gaming member. It does come back to haunt them here. Now the Baron shove continues into this mid lane. Tibor is not with the group. He is shoving down this bot lane, pinging towards that inner turret. Indecision on the flank, but on vision. And Galaxy Racer well aware and giving him due respect.
And a little bit safe. I think it's hard to sort of try to dive here, but they don't need to. This tower is so low, it's just going to go down. And Granit will have to give that, but should be able to defend the T2 in this situation. The Galaxy Racer can just move on over to support the Akali, get that other tier 2. And honestly, you know, if you've got the Baron, if you're taking these towers, you're pretty comfortable at answering back. They can now move down towards the Dragon and secure that as well. We talked about how Granit, you know, they could have had a stall at this point if they were in control of the game and picking those up. But Canip were late on the play for the last Dragon, and obviously giving that Baron over really doesn't put them in a position to contest this one.
Hestero did at least get a tier 2 in top lane, but it is a paltry trade, really, all things said and done, considering, you know, the Dragon, the towers that went down in trade for Galaxy Racer, and you can see in the gold graph here, got a little bit dicey for a moment, but it is now very much in favor of Galaxy Racer.
Yeah, and I think it's just, you know, the Sylas is going to find value as the game goes on. The Tristana, if she can stay alive, can. But right now, just the Wukong is so strong, and the Akali is such a threat. And really, we haven't been seeing too many full-on fair 5v5s. There's been a lot of messier fights where it feels like it doesn't come down to just like, oh, who's the better 5v5 comp? It comes down to things like this. Who can pick who? But Jakey, you stepped out of the brush, by the way.
Yeah, I gave that one away. Now, actually, Granit thinking of trying to return the favor, but fighting for vision is a dangerous business, it turns out. Lost control of pretty much everywhere post their red buff.
I like this play, though, of them setting the mid wave up, timing the waves together, pushing them in. And because they have control of this side of the jungle, they can have the rest of the team move between them and apply that pressure. Of course, you don't really have enough strength on the top side, and because the Baron buff times out, they will just end up backing away. But right now, they are happy to keep the waves pushed very deep. That allows them to do things like Akana is doing here and taking these jungle camps, denying them away from Granit, and just, you know, it's minor, but pushing that gold advantage a little bit more.
Doing their best to starve out Granit from resources, strip the jungle bare there, and now move their way back. About 2.5 minutes till the Baron, 3 minutes till Mountain Drake. I think Orcs, we might have a moment to breathe.
Maybe for a second.
Maybe.
But then again, whenever we take that opportunity,
I know.
the fight starts, you know?
Literally. Like, I'm not even joking. It feels like every time I say, oh, I think we're going to get a break, and then it just isn't. It's kind of a cast a curse in action right there. And as we say that, just going to see Granit try and stabilize the best they can after a disastrous 5 minutes or so. Now down 4,000 gold. Now lost 2 dragons in a row as well. And I need to be asking at this point, Orcs, what do Granit do to try and stabilize this point? Because it feels quite difficult, especially considering how much vision control they have lost right now.
I think you need to find that window to push in and find the clean 5v5. Flanks are obviously a concern, but, you know, Xin Zhao pretty solid at face checking with his ultimate, the set as well. You take windows like these when the enemy team's resetting where you can get some wards down. And then, you know, say Galaxy Racer are starting the Baron up, are starting the Dragon up. You know where they are. You know what you're dealing with. You know how to approach it. And their 5v5 is solid. Don't get me wrong. Galaxy Racer have a lot of dive tools, but there's a lot of AoE CC from Granit. And when they pull that off, the execution works. It's just you have to set up the arrangement so that it can flourish.
Minute now till Baron. I do want to call out a second item here from Monk, who's gone towards a Storm Razor second, and that might just be me being a little ignorant of Kai'Sa builds. They are notoriously very versatile, but wouldn't necessarily be what I expected from a Kai'Sa.
Yeah, not really for me either. Seeing an engage come in here, maybe?
An idea? It is indeed maybe. Certainty now as Ingo's Wixo to turn it around. So much damage comes out. Monk trying to get away. Goes back in to get to down. Gets shut down anyway. Knew he was burning out. Needed something resembling healing. Tibor's doing their best to clean up anyway. Big cyclone. But Babril goes down. It's now AD carry dead for AD carry dead. And it's the melees left to brawl it out. Khan gets one. It's a double for the Wukong. Another knockup. Into the knockup. The bouncy castle is favoring Galaxy Racer though, and it's just Wixo left to run away. Wukong gets that one. A triple for the monkey in the top side. 8, 1, and 4.
And I mean, I think you can see from that, even though Mug went down almost instantly on the back of that fight, it just didn't matter. Babril wasn't able to stay safe. Kakan got so much value in that tight skirmish, and Jakey as well, constantly getting their damage rotations off, able to win out in that close range brawl. And this is really kind of the meta at the moment. These melee skirmishes doing so much, finding so much value, and Galaxy Racer able to edge out there. Now, things are coming in. We have double TP available for the side of Granit.
Yeah,
looks like they're going in.
Go. They happened in the first game. It might be happening in the second game. The overshove in the first game caused the turnaround, and they're going to try. Granit are definitely going to damn well try. They got a lot of health lines, but they haven't got the kills yet. Look at Royal Cannon. He's trading out as fast as he can. The chains are whirling, but Tibor gets Babril. Now he needs to try and get out. He's dead to Royal Cannon. So it's a 1-for-1 right now. It's not the fight that Granit needed really in the grand scheme of things. They might be able to contest for this dragon, but I don't know. It's going to get a bit scary. Monk managed to get away with the Gale Force. And Indecision will start up the dragon. With Wendell and Godmonk still around, could be risky.
I think maybe the steal could come out from Jakey. He's trying to look for it here.
down to 2,000. They could still look for it. Watch Kaiser as well, running away as fast as they can. Indecision, and the rest of Granit pull away. The Sonic Waves lands. They're going to go in. Steal, maybe? It's going to be the Shin Sao. It's not going to be the steal for Jakey, and he goes down. And remember, Baron is alive, and the jungler is dead. This could be disaster for Galaxy Racer. The turnaround now from Wendell, who's going in, but he's getting showstopper back out, and the show is over. That is a dead Kaiser, and suddenly, what is it with people over-shoving and having teleports come in behind them? Granit going to try and trade out again. The wind becomes lightning, and they get to move over to Baron.
I was so concerned that Kakan was actually just going to 1v4 there, but it's not quite enough for the Wukong to go into that situation. Galaxy Racer's bot lane commit to a play and end up getting punished, but I don't think it's over. Super Minions are pushing in the base, but T-Ball and Wendell are here to contest.
There's no teleport, so it's going to be a difficult one. Tibon needs to pull off the most miracle of Akali performances. Did 50k damage in the first game, did Akali. See whether they can do the same here. It's going to have to be that kind of performance, down to 3,500. Wendell trying to stay alive, but Babel just bops him on the head. Welcome to Mario. We changed games already, and the plumbing is coming straight out until no! Akali gets the double, and that will save the Baron. What is this champion?
I mean, just Akali things. Honestly, that sheer amount of burst damage coming in, able to find the window, and they stop it. 2v4, and they're able to stop the Baron attempt. Royal Canin has no choice but to deal with these super minions, and that actually means Galaxy Racer can stop the Baron, but we don't have time for that. Look in the replay. Dragon gets so low with the smites coming in, but it is Granit able to secure it. And then this play, a little bit overzealous from the bot lane of Galaxy Racer. Got in a bit too early when it's still 2v4. Wendell giving a great ult option to Hestero, and then Khan survives a long time there, but we don't have time. We have time for nothing. It's Baron again.
Oh, this Baron pit. It's a Thunderdome one more time. Khan has burned the Cyclone. Godmon gets out with the Gale Force, and now the Charms are in as well. Royal Cannon will not forget the kill, but look who got the Baron. This time Jakey gets the smite, and look at the turnarounds. They win the fight afterwards as well. 2 members dead. They've got super minions in the base. They've got a Baron. It looks like Granit might have had an angle after they find the teleport play, but Orcs, I think Galaxy Racer have it right back again.
Oh, what a fiesta this game is. There's no other way to describe it. Sheer fiesta gameplay, but Galaxy Racer edging ahead. The skirmishers doing so well, and they're able to secure the Baron. They're able to get the kills on the back end. They reset the back on the map, and it's only 3v5 right now to defend. 15 seconds of Royal Canin. Granit, Indecision, you're too aggressive.
This was 2 teams looking for a brawl. Well, they found a brawl. Indecision has to back away with the ult pot. Take it down to half HP, but so is Wendell. Gonna see the reset coming through for Kakan. Remember, they've got the teleport, so it can come straight back in and will do just that. Now, Granit have got to hold on. They're going to make like their namesake and hold strong, because it could get real scary. Now the second inhibitor has fallen. Not sure when that bot lane one is respawning. Must be soon, surely. 2 minutes left on the Baron, and Jakey's going to start stubbing out this top side.
Yeah, they're moving over to rotate to that, but Team Monk's actually gone to the bot side, so I think they should just retreat off the back of that. Spend some of your gold. Void Staff should be coming in for T-Bor. I think Monk might have his Infinity Edge. Although it looks like they're still pushing. Monk's nowhere near, though, so I'm a little bit concerned about this one. If Granit spot this, potentially could find a window to fight, and I think Galaxy Racer are respecting that. They're just letting the Baron minions do the work for Monk.
Whoa! Flash in from Royal Cannon. Monk was in trouble. Now he's trying to outplay himself, but the Kaiser ult has been stolen. Look who else is his Indecision. And he does get out with the flash, but its summon is burned from both mid and AD carry there. But look what's going on while that was happening. Top lane inhibits right now under siege. Kakin going to go into the Cyclone, but he's getting charmed. Knocked up from multiple use of that ultimate, and still nobody dies. Just some health bars. Just some tetchy almost fights.
A nice disengage from Galaxy Racer allows that AD carry to group up with them, and you can see T-Bor applying that pressure to the super minions. Granit are in trouble right now. They need a fight, and they need to win it quick.
They need that fight now because it's looking desperate. That'll be Hestero looking for the face breaker, but it's only a slow, not a stun. Now the Crescent Guard comes out flashing. It can't get on to Kaiser. They finally get there. She's dead, but what's happening with the rest of the fight? Look at Babril. He's untouched, but he gets knocked up and he's down. He's down, and Wukong is running over the fight with T-Bor. That will be a 5-4-1, and Galaxy Racer will move up to 7-4. That's 3 teams vying for 2 feet through 3 in that group. What a game.
What a game. So messy in that one. Came down to these small mechanical outplays, the team fight and the execution. And Galaxy Racer's front line just managing to pull it off better. Babril doing his best. to try and make the Tristana work, but it just isn't enough. The Wukong, the Akali, the Lee Sin finding so much value, but it was such a scrappy one, such a back and forth. And credit to Granit for making it so competitive, but Galaxy Racer managed to secure the dub in the end.
4 melee brawlers, 2 AD carries that can jump in. What a game. Still, it's not for us to break down. You know the drill already. We're cutting to a break, and Jake and the crew will take it from here.